So, I mean, the people can go out and vote, but got to get past the Electoral College. I'm going to come back to this because I got something else I want to show you.
Oh, you broke. So you must be broke. Oh, you broke. See, here you go again. Okay, you're not listening. So let me tell you a little gay what the truth is. Here's what's up, sissy boy.
Hey, he ain't gay.
I gave all my... he acting like... Well, stop coming with the female energy then, man. You don't know me. I gave all my shit away, you dumb ass. I run 4 nonprofits. I put 300 grand into my nonprofit of my own money. Hey, I'm not through talking. Shut the up while a real man is talking. Hey, stop talking about get off live. 6, motherfucker. Don't listen. 6.
So you got rich off of it.
I didn't get rich off the broke ass church, nigga. You stupid. Get the fuck out of here.
As a white man, came into the black church, got rich off of us.
Yeah. Look at this shit. Now you begging. With your begging ass. Looking just like them cave beasts. Coming straight from the Caucasus Mountains with your Esau ass. You don't need no donations. You got money. Calling others broke. Listen to him cough up your lungs. Just lost.
Damn.
Choke.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, you sorry with your sorry ass. Ugh. You can imitate, but you can't duplicate. You want to be black so bad, but no. You are a lost white man that has been wearing a mask. You already showed your horns. Devil. Pale-faced demon ass. This shit that's on his arm, this that secret society shit. Look at that crescent moon and that star. All of this is that coexist secret society. See, he in the club too. While he talking about other people's sexuality, I bet you he in the club too. Lost. These ain't nothing but deceivers that come into the church, but they fool y'all because y'all so dumb and welcoming. This man looking just like Satan. Ugh, just look at his eyes. Look at his face. How can you not tell that this is a deceiver, bro? This is a deceiver. Ew. And for all these dumb people that saying he really thought he was black, no. And you hear him calling that black man a nigga. But see, that's because we make these wannabe black people come in so bad. I want them to understand dad is white, mom is black, you are biracial. Exactly. He is white. He's not black. He's white. They slither in. They get your energy. They get your money. They get your support. Because you are the church. Delusional. You delusional. No spiritual discernment, man. Nah, Church of Garbage in Crisis. Because that's what I call Kojic. Because they one of the biggest cults. Nah, Church of Garbage and Crisis, don't run now. You all welcome this caveman in with open arms. But this is what you do. You are so unlearned in the scriptures that it's easy to fool you. Just like Kanye came in and fooled you as well. This is a man who claimed to be a god. He never believed in Christ. This man sacrificed his own mama for fame/money, just like you read in the Bible where the Israelites sacrificed their own kids to Molech. He used your energy, gained your support, and now he is denouncing Christ. I tried to warn you about him and Hollywood, period, but you said I was crazy. Just like Kanye, this man never believed in Christ, and now he even told you for himself. This proves that most of you who accepted them don't have the spirit of discernment. All it takes is a big ego, a little flash, a little money, lavish materials, shucking, jiving, hooting, and hollering to get most of these black church folk to follow you. And that's the truth. That's not shade. That's not a read. That's the truth. Some of these men don't even be learned in the scriptures. That's why you allow foolishness like Bishop Eddie Long. That's why you allow that. And then when others try to expose it, you hush them up. I talked about a church in Florida that let members go out of their church so they could keep a man that's a pedophile, a known pedophile, as a pastor. What's wrong with y'all? Oh, but you so focused on the homosexuals and don't even realize that even though you are a cisgender man and woman and y'all are married, but if you are performing oral sex on each other, you are committing sodomy. You're a sodomite too. That's what sodomy is. Don't matter if you married or not. If you are sucking him and he is licking you, you're a sodomite. Hi. Welcome to the club. Church is nothing but entertainment today. It's the dummies talking about how they are going to pray for him. Why? Most of our people wouldn't even pray for their own people. So why pray for a snake? The man is naturally a heathen/pagan. He is part of that New World Order coexist garbage. This is why he was trying to tie Christianity and Buddhism together. It's the BS that Oprah be on with her Christ is not the only way to the Father crap. This is a plan that has been implemented in small, subtle ways since the late 80s, starting with the prosperity movement going into the mega church movement. You know, where all your favorite people like Create a Flow of Dollars and TD Jake the Snake Mistake. Yeah. And then it'd be so funny to me how many of you people in the black church, many of you people, you will shun your transgender family members, but you supported one of the biggest transgenders. I mean, you supported one of the biggest drag queens on the face of the earth. Made him a multi-black millionaire. Ain't that something? That's crazy. And you see what kind of content he's producing today. Always got the black woman in a bad light. But yet you still go run and spend your money. Hey, but I guess protect black women, right? Protect black women. Esau had an agenda all along to get Negroes, Jacob, away from the Bible and start focusing on other books, religions such as Hinduism and Buddhism. Why else do you think he came to the black church? Why didn't he go be with the Asians? Because ding dong, he went to seminary school and they gave him the plan there. He knows who the real children of Israel are, just like the ones who taught him the plan. No. Esau had this plan since Genesis 27 verses 41 and 42, King James Version, because of what happened in Genesis 25 verses 29 through 34, King James Version. If you want more detail, watch my video titled The Answer to Why Do They Hate Us? What did we do to them? He works for them. The imposter Jewish elite bankers, the Roman Catholic Church, the Jesuit secret societies, and his goal is to get my people away from Christ and the Bible. Look at the tats on him that I circled in the pic. You see that red crescent, moon, and star? The conjoined representation of a crescent and a star is used in various historical contexts, including as a prominent symbol of the Ottoman Empire. One moment. I'm going to just read some stuff about the Ottoman Empire here. King James, and this is from my book, King James was a true protector of what we call today the truth. So to sum it all up, there were two types of Catholic knowledges taught in history. You first have the Byzantine type, which was the study of the universe and all in it. And then the Ottoman Turk Roman Catholic states, which teaches garbage, aka theology and idol worship. The term Catholic was originally an Israelite term that means universal or university, not a religion. Understanding this does not mean that Israelites are now Catholic by religion, because the term Catholic is not a religion at all. The word Catholic is another word for the truth, which can only be found throughout the understanding that Christ gave based on the writings of our ancestors, the Israelites. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me see, then going down. What page is this? Page 480 of 1368. In the Ottoman period, 1517 AD through 1917 AD, the Sultan was the sole and absolute regent, head of state, and head of government of the empire, at least officially, though often much power shifted due de facto to other officials, especially the Grand Vizier. The Jewish Sephardi impostors population of the Palestine region was at approximately 10,000 during the first half century of Ottoman rule. Bold development projects for reviving the Holy Land were conceived by Jewish courtiers in Constantinople, such as Don Garcia Mendez and Don Joseph Nazi. Jerusalem, Tiberias, and above all, Safed became centers of Jewish spiritual and commercial activity. Many of the gains achieved by Islamic Jewry during the 16th century was lost over the next 200 years, as Ottoman rule became more inefficient, corrupt, and religiously conservative. At the height of its power in the 16th and 17th centuries, it controlled territory in southeastern Europe, southwestern Asia, and North Africa. The Ottoman Empire contained 29 provinces and numerous vassal states, some of which were later absorbed into the empire, while others were granted various types of autonomy during the course of centuries. The empire also temporarily gained authority over distant overseas lands through declarations of allegiance to the Ottoman Sultan and Caliph, such as the declaration by the Sultan of Aceh. I forget what that is. In 1565, or through temporary acquisitions of islands such as Lanzarote in the Atlantic Ocean in 1585. 30 Jewish Sephardi impostor Jewish communities exist at the time in Haifa, Shechem, Hebron, Ramleh, Jaffa, Gaza, Jerusalem, and many in the north. The city of Safed became a spiritual center. Kabbalah flourished among Sephardi Jews, which are converts. So those Sephardi Jews, it's only like 2%, they make up 2% of the population. So they are Semitic because they come from Esau. They do not come from Jacob. So they have no ties to the promise. And them Ashkenazi Jews, that's how they try to tie their way in. We're, the Sephardi Jews. That's all you hear them talk about is the Sephardi Jews, because that's they link into to this big old scam and lies. So the city of Safed became a spiritual center. Kabbalah flourished among the Sephardi Jews, which are converts, and Safed even before the arrival of Isaac Luria, known as the Ari, its most famous resident. Note, between 1882 and 1948, a series of Jewish Khazarian migrations to what is the modern nation of Israel, known as Aliyah's Kametz, started. These migrations precede the Zionist period. Hold on. Okay. Okay, and so I read that on the Ottoman Empire. And so basically the Ottoman Empire is the one pretty much who started the Catholic Church and stuff like that. And in contemporary times, as a national symbol by some countries, this is talking about I'm going to start this over. The conjoined representation of a crescent and a star is used in various historical contexts, including as a prominent symbol of the Ottoman Empire, which is I just read, and in contemporary times as a national symbol by some countries, and as a symbol of Islam. You all know that I already did a video on Islam proving that I'm sorry, I have to fix this right now. There was no Islam or Quran before the 7th century. It was a religion made up by the Roman Catholic Church to combat the Israelites, aka Messianics, in order after the Messiah. Hey, don't get mad at me, and remember, you are the dummies that fell for his scheme, and now you are all shocked and appalled. Please, what was his agenda? The same agenda as TD Mistake, Benny Hennessy, Joker Face Michael Myers, whose office furniture alone costs more than people's homes, create a flow of dollars, and the rest of the crackerjack phony bishops / pastors on that Illuminati station TBN has, which is to promote the Jewish imposter while trying to keep the real Jews, Negroes, Natives, and Latinos' identity a secret. This is why they woo you in these churches with theories and philosophies that don't align with the scriptures. You get so mad at me, but yet you allow this trash to come in, learn our sauce, and leave calling you niggas. Once again, the lack of knowledge concerning history and the scriptures has left you with your foot in your mouth. I saw him on stage shucking and jiving with TD Mistake. While he is calling out other men's sexuality, I wouldn't doubt if he's been swallowed up while doing the satanic rituals that have left him desolate. Nah, knowing his kind, he probably did the swallowing. I know a cum dump when I see one. When a person starts calling another person broke and questioning their sexuality, it's an attempt to deflect from the question or topic of the conversation. He did make money off of ignorant Negroes who don't know their history nor who he and his ancestors are. During the Dark Ages, we found his people in caves, sleeping with their animals. Our ancestors, the Moors, taught his ancestors how to read, write, and we also taught them to bathe. This is not hate, it's facts. He must remember that he is not the original, which is why he burns in the sun. Also, because he's been in the Bible, and so I know he read Genesis when the Most High took the dirt and made man, and I've never seen white dirt before. So he's not the original. He's nothing but a snake with a mental disorder, and he's being haunted / tormented. See, you can't play with the Most High. His people in these churches may be some fools, but he is surely not. This man saw a way to make money off of Negroes. He is a con man. He became full of himself and got too comfortable. That's why he felt like he could say nigga. Well, the ancestors have spoken. Esau, you are a fool. He bragged about what he gave away, but that was all to save his poor little ego. He is not sorry. He is not a believer. He does not even believe in Christ. The Most High was tormenting him, and he thought that giving his corrupt fortune away would stop it. But no, sir. You wanted that rhythm, and now you have to face that blues. Too coward to be the waste of white skin that he was born with, a pale-faced, blue-eyed demon to be exact. He is inhabited by spirits, which is why he is drunk off the spirits he is consuming while begging you, the fool, to sow a seed. Alcohol doesn't make seeds grow, loser. It was all good when he was calling those men broke, calling them niggas, but now he is begging for seed money. You so desperately wanted our rhythm, now may you choke on our blues. Do you think these people don't know that they on their way out? This is why all this shit is going on. Some people just really sitting here like, I can't believe all this going on. I mean, just why? Let me show you. They knew. They know. But see, what I know is the next video that I'm going to share.
This country, you consider that a fact? People.
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
How it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only.
Listen.
His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to do dispossession of whites in the United States. Policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. Policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore. When my ancestors built this nation, they did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Haitians or to anyone else.
Do you consider, you keep saying your ancestors built this country, you consider that a fact?
Who else built it?
Black people, Native Americans,
You bastard.
Chinese people who came and built the railroads.
Do you think none of that could have been
Italian
achieved?
people.
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
How it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're...
That white bastard. But see, this is their arrogance. This is their arrogance. You heard him when he said they don't control their own destiny. This is their arrogance. This is, and you see the stupidity that lies within that noggin. Who else built it? It certainly wasn't you. It certainly wasn't you, because you had to go get other people because you could not go out into the sun. You can't survive in the sun. And if it was not been for the natives who fed you and taught you how to survive on this land, you would have ceased to exist. This is their arrogance, though. But that is why I do videos like what I'm going to share next, because your punk ass pastor, he's already under subjection of them. He or she. Nothing but extensions of the Roman Catholic Church. That's what they are. That's why they worship on Sunday. Watch the next video. Who are the real terrorists of the world? Who has murdered the most people? Do we want to get into that? Is ISIS the worst terrorist? Or is there someone else? Oh, now you're about to see why they took out Maccabees. Why they took out Ezra's. Because the Roman Catholic Church, who are these people, who are Esau, that you see holding the hat, the feathered hat, the headdress. They the same people. See? 1 Maccabees 7, verse 29. He come therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence. No, I don't celebrate pagan holidays. This their manifest destiny crap. This ain't nothing but a bunch of crap. In the 19th century, manifest destiny was a widely held belief in the United States that its settlers were destined to expand across North America. There are three basic themes to manifest destiny: the special virtues of the American people and their institutions, the mission of the United States to redeem and remake the West in the image of our great Argarian America. I'm sorry, I butchered that. An irresistible destiny to accomplish this essential duty. They always speak sweet words to hide the carnage and the trail of tears they leave behind to get to their so-called manifest destiny. The image below will prove that Their manifest destiny was and still is white supremacy, which is Jacob's trouble. Let me tell you what their sweet words really meant. Manifest destiny is their idea that it is their God given right to murder the entirety of the indigenous population on the continent so they could shine from sea to shining sea. They also figured since there was no gates put up, the land was theirs for the taking, even though there was people already living on the land. You won't believe the comments I see from Facebook posts on viral videos that speak of history or anything that brings up white folks' dirty past. This land wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for white people. But I just read that y'all wouldn't have even survived if it wasn't for the natives. That's how delusional these dummies are. There will be no land for you to do whatever on because you wouldn't have survived. Or my favorite, the natives were killing each other and taking each other's land. I guess this gave whites the right to come in and kill everyone and steal the whole land? Not. The problem is majority of white people boast and have no empathy for what their ancestors did. They also fail to realize the head start they received over everyone else, and this is why they will face the harshest judgment. They enact this manifest destiny way of thinking to this very day. Why else are they in Africa but not at war with Africa? Look at what happened to Iraq and Afghanistan. This type of behavior is Esau living by the sword as prophesied. There is a correlation between Roman Christianity and ruling the world. There is a correlation between white colonial patriarchy and ruling the world. This is not the past. This is not the past. Just in 2017, there was national press covering an enormous protest, the Sioux tribe of Gad, at Standing Rock. The natives were bitten by dogs and pepper sprayed, all in an attempt to keep a toxic pipeline used for oil out of their native burial grounds. They had rights to be worried because, lo and behold, in 2018, Keystone Pipeline leaks 210,000 gallons of oil in South Dakota. All that wasted protested oil. When will all see that there is one race of people who predominantly do the mass shootings and have done atrocities to just about every other race on the face of the earth? They loathe in the do as thou wilt mentality, Aleister Crowley, without empathy for the next. They feel they have a divine entitlement and fail to realize their forefather gave that up a long time ago. This picture below shows their ideologic white supremacy. Notice no Negroes or natives. American Progress, 1872 by John Gass, is an allegorical representation of the modernization of the New West. Columbia, a personification of the United States, is shown leading civilization westward with American settlers. She is shown bringing light from the east into the west, stringing telegraph wire, holding a school textbook that will instill knowledge and highlights different stages of economic activity and evolving forms of transportation. Goddamn goat hair. As for my people, we have this obsession to celebrate white dominance, and we demean any resistance to it. Have you ever thought about why this holiday is heavily associated with eating? Thanksgiving, in a special way, is just celebrated by eating, and not just in normal consumption, but food in extreme access. People look forward for all the overeating on this day. It is even socially acceptable to engorge yourself on this day. This is a holiday dealing with gluttony, a holiday of taking more than you need and thanking God for being able to do so. But the God of the Bible is not listening anyway, according to Scripture. This holiday is actually a funeral or memorial service for all of the children of Israel. Our ancestors were slaughtered. What amazes me, how we eat these unhealthy foods for years and then wonder why we end up like Big Ma off of soul food. Why are we okay with the continual eating of what we know are scraps that was given to our ancestors by white slave masters? Our ancestors. So I just want to apologize, man. These words are small. You can see it for yourself, but I'm, trying my best to read it. But I do apologize about stumbling over the words, and, it is what it is. But I do thank you, for taking the time out and strolling through this with me. I'm almost done here, and I'm going to continue on with this. But yeah, their manifest destiny, man. This whole belief is crazy. It's wrong. Take that manifest destiny back to the caves, back to the Caucasus Mountains, and build that up, because we don't need it here. Thanks. And last but not least, so this was a post that I did in 2016, and it is still relevant today. The downfall coming to the white man. Most Christians don't know who's who in the Bible, which is why a lot of pastors skip over the following verses below. This is why most of the church is out of order. We are in a battle, and most of my people don't know who we are or who our enemy is. You will see why most white folk always hating on you to the boss. You will see why they think they have the right to tell you how to discipline your kids. You will see why some will do what the Barbecue Becky or Central Park Karen did, calling the police in hopes that we will be murdered. You will see their arrogance and proud nature. They boast about this being their country, but they never paid for the land. They stole the land by breaking over 500 treaties, massacres, and giving my people blankets with smallpox. This is germ warfare, same as the Tuskegee experiment, where they gave our men syphilis and did not tell them about it. Same as the tuberculosis sprayed in our St. Louis neighborhoods in the 1950s. They are the real illegal immigrants who have not changed. Through their secret societies, Jesuit Order, Freemasonry, Club of Rome, Bohemian Grove, and the Skull and Bones crew, in which T.D. Mistake is a proud member, they have infiltrated Christianity and taken over as authority over the church. And if you haven't encountered a situation with one, keep living, watching, and praying. Not all of them are our enemy, but the ones who support the government oppression against us, an example, Trump supporters, are. Pastors tend to skip over. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. People tend to forget that. Romans 9:11 through 15, King James Version. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Hebrews 12:16 through 17, King James Version. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Amos 9, verse 11 and 12, King James Version. Who was Esau/Edom? And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them, and the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. That's Genesis 25, verses 22 through 28, King James Version. And so if you notice here, only Esau was described when Esau was born. That's because Esau was the only one that looked different. Jacob looked like Rebekah and Isaac, who was black. That Jacob looked like that. Esau was the only one that was different. That's why he was described in detail. Notice that even in the womb, these two kids fought. Esau/Edom is the white man who was not white but red and hairy like a goat, because you can see their blood through their skin. This is a curse in a way to identify a specific group of people in the future. Notice Jacob was not described. That's because Jacob looked like everyone else at that time, black. Rebekah's husband, our great-grandfather Isaac, loved Esau more because Esau was a hunter/gatherer, and he was great at it. That's why they still great at it today. Keep in mind, it wasn't no Kroger's or Walmart in those days. If you wanted to eat, you had to hunt. One for sure way I know white people is Esau because of the hunting. I sometimes come across videos on YouTube when it comes to hunting, the outdoors, and camping. That is their skill all the way. You can't beat them in hunting. Think about the guys from Duck Dynasty. Who else would think to make a device that literally calls the ducks to them so they can just shoot them easily? They know how to spray female deer piss on themselves to attract the big bucks, male deer. I even seen one guy on YouTube who trained minks to catch rats. They created and are masters of weaponry, guns, nuclear bombs. This is their skill. It was said they was going to live by the sword, but Jacob is our grandfather. He was a plain man that liked to stay in the house and study his heritage, aka the laws of the Most High given to Noah, down to Shem, down to Abraham, and so on, dwelling in tents. And Jacob sod pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentiles, And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Well, see, that's why I like those Book of Jashers, the Book of Jubilees, you know, some of the lost books that are canon. They are scripturally inspired, because it go into, see, Genesis is just an overview. So that's all it say. But if you read the Book of Jasher, you would know why Esau was faint. Because he had just had a war. He had just had a war. I forget with who. But Esau had a war with somebody. And he did, I think he did win. But it was a close battle. And so by the time he got back to Jacob, that is why he was faint. But see, it don't tell you that in Genesis. You got to read the other books of the Bible to learn that. The reason their skin is pale is because our Father in heaven knew they will give up their birthright for a bowl of bloody pottage, aka stew meat, Genesis 25. Even though the law of Moses was not in place, there was 7 laws given to Noah by the Most High after the flood. One of them was not to eat or drink blood, which showed up later in the law of Moses. The birthright is usually given to the firstborn, but Esau gave it up. It wasn't important to him. The birthright is the right to rule the kingdom under Christ, which is why it stated the elder shall serve the younger. Let's look at the Bible to see what happened. A long time ago, Esau, white, sold their birthright to my people. Now watch as you keep reading how Esau would try to switch the narrative, saying Jacob tricked him. They do this to this day. They have not changed. These are characteristics that will manifest later on as time went on. I'm showing where they get these characteristics from and how they came about. I said the birthright equals future prophecy of ruling the next kingdom under Christ. We also received a great blessing from our great-grandfather Isaac. We give thanks to our great-grandmother, they always looking out, Rebecca, for what she did. The Lord had already told her back in Genesis 25, verse 23, King James Version, the elder shall serve the younger, which is why she did what she did. See, Isaac loved Esau. Rebecca loved Jacob. And this is the verse. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The younger was stronger. And because of what the Lord told her, she devised a plan to help Jacob. And Rebekah heard what Isaac spake to Esau, his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will fill me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. So pause. So I guess right there, because that kind of is not the truth. That's not the truth. But Rebecca said, whatever, upon her may thy curse be. So he still was instructed by his mama, honor thy mother and father, right? So he still, I guess, but he did say, God brought him that. So that is, but it is what it is. So I guess that's why he the trickster. I don't know. But it's really not. Because God said that he would have the blessing. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God give thee the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. That people serve thee, and the nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Genesis 27, 5-30, King James Version. Esau is our older twin brother. This is my commentary. They were supposed to rule, but they sold that right. They lost their blessing, and they swore to kill us because of this. Who still don't get along after all these years? Only two races of people, with them having a perpetual hatred for us. Even in their unconscious, they say and do evil things because this is spiritual. The spirit in them remembers. Most of them don't know their history and can't even explain why they hate us, especially today. I'm showing you why. Pay attention when you read this next scripture. Who does this sound like today? Who is in charge by way of war? What is the United States of America known for? War and invasion. I mean, is that not how America was formed? They even create scenarios to go to war. 9/11 was an inside job. The government did that to bring in this new world order. Mr. Passa, yeah, them Republicans that was over there shaking hands with them Saudis, them Bushes, the devil and Beelzebub. Bush Sr. and the doofus, Bush Jr. Yeah, them. Yeah. Building 7. What happened to it? It wasn't hit by a tower. I mean, it wasn't hit by a plane. No bombs. I'm just saying. Then they started a 20-year war. A 20-year war, all to get them people oils. weapons of mass destruction, but were no weapons of mass destruction. The government did that to bring in this new world order. Think about it. Have things been right since 2001? 7 years later, we had an economic collapse, all kinds of events along the way, like mass school shootings. That's done mostly by, you know what? Is it coincidence that no one else has tried to do what they say Osama did with 9/11? You see, the Capitol is not secure. I mean, we've seen that January 6th. And leading up to today, with this pandemic, they create chaos to establish order. Order out of chaos. Since 2001, when 9/11 happened, that was the time is counting down from that point on. From that point on, time is counting down. I mean, and it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he had also made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his fathers, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me, oh brother, these 2 times. He took away my birthright. You see how they trying to switch? See how Esau, that's their ancestor. It started from right there. Right there. He forgot. Oh, just that quick. Forgot how he sold that birthright, because he came in because he was faint. Because he had been fighting somebody else. He was on the brink of death. Oh, but he forgot all about that. Just like when you go and help them and they forget all about you and they side with their people. Yeah. Man, that is just crazy. But listen to this. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, because right now they have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? You see how they switched the narrative? Now all of a sudden, we tricked them. But earlier they said, and Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Thus Esau despised his birthright. Remember that? Of course not. This is why they have been stealing our inventions, music, culture, and identity. Since they know they won't rule under Christ, they now rule by the sword under Satan. You see, they have destroyed the earth with their drilling, their fracking. Hey, RuPaul. Chemtrails, global warming, oil spills, and wars. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart, which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air, and our name shall be forgotten in time. And no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. So remember, like the Caesars, how they wear them little green things, or they even had that as a filter with the little rosebuds. Remember that filter with the rosebuds and the little green leaves and the rosebuds? They even had that as a filter. See? And let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor, righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doing. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressings of our education. He professeth to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his Father. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. For if the just man be the Son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. As for the mysteries of God, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. I know people skimming through their Bible like, where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he at in the Bible? This is in the Apocrypha. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was saying about how when Adam came and, he sinned, death came into the world. So that's why we had to start eating animals, eating flesh. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Wisdom of Solomon 2, verses 1 through 24. King James Apocrypha. King James Version Apocrypha. I love the lost books of the Bible called the Apocrypha. They are canonical and spiritually inspired. So what I just read to you, this is what these evil leaders, this is what these evil leaders, this is what they're saying right here. Because they know that their time is up. They know their time is up. They know they don't have nothing after this. And so this is also, in the Apocrypha, in one of the lost books of the Bible. Oh, yes, I'll go here. I'll go in the Apocrypha, in the lost books of the Bible. So your average Sunday worshiping pastor ain't going to be able to contend with me. And they get mad at that. That's why they hate me. Because I know my word. And I can prove that they don't know theirs. That's why they hate me. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, and when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Since they are destroying the earth, we will rule for 1,000 years when Christ returns. This is biblical. You won't learn this in church because they do not know history. The Bible is a historical book of our ancestors, the Hebrew Israelites. Esau came from the Caucasus Mountains. They dwelled in the clefts. Hence, the Geico caveman commercials, remember, they always put it in the they is the Hollywood elite. Like how all the, those so-called Jewish men, like Cohen and all of them that run hip-hop. Yeah, the people that they answer to. They ancestors and they people. These, yeah. Hence, the Geico caveman commercials, remember, they always put it right in your face. It just flies over your heads. It was prophesied in Genesis 27, verse 38 through 4, verses 41, I think, King James Version read it, that Esau, who became known as Edom or Idumea, white folk, shall live by the sword. He will also have a perpetual hatred for his brother Jacob, aka Israel. Who is Jacob? The 12 tribes of Israel, the chosen people of the Most High. The Negroes, who are Judah, the Mexicans, who are Issachar, North and South American natives, Haitians, who are Levi, Cubans, who are Manasseh, Dominicans, Islanders, Jamaicans, who is Benjamin, and Trinidad, Puerto Ricans, Ephraim. Puerto Ricans are Ephraim, aka the 12 tribes of Israel that were scattered in 721 BC and 70 AD. Keep in mind, you won't learn this from your pastor because they don't know. They were taught the replacement theology. The replacement theology is Israel being replaced with the church. This is what Romans 11, King James Version, is all about. You know, this is why I did that video a few videos ago, Gentiles cut off, because of this, what I'm reading to you right now. Because they came with a replacement theology, which is Israel being replaced with the church. Esau, living by the sword, means going into different countries, overthrowing the beliefs and leaders already established. Example, North American natives, Iraq. They have been the root of all 3 world wars in this world. They cause the conflict and then bring the solution they already had planned out against God's chosen people. Order out of chaos. Not all white people are bad, but just like we had to pay for the sins of our forefathers, they will have to do the same. Revelation 13, verse 10, King James Version. And for you people that be like, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't benefit off of this. Maybe not all of you, but there is still some families who have slaves who have never, restored those families or anything like that. And I think Johnson & Johnson was like one of them, or even if they have, it's come out that these companies, the starters of them, had slaves. So the black babies that were born to the women on the slave ships were not bad, but they still had to endure and grow up in slavery. And when I speak of white folk, I'm speaking on the elite powers, the wickedness in high places. Their people in the KKK and the average Trump supporter are just the ignorant bottom feeders. Most of them don't know this history either. Notice they can't explain why they hate us, but even still, when the majority of them see Christ crack the sky and see he is a dark-skinned Negro, they will not serve. They will be judged harshly. There is no repentance for them, and major judgment is coming to the Gentiles. They boast and say Israel was done away with so they can come in. Blasphemy. Some of them will make it to be servants in the kingdom of heaven, but the majority, who have a perpetual hatred for the Most High's people, will not serve the woolly, afro-haired, black-skinned Messiah, or our Father, who was also black. You will see this happen. You will see them reject him when we all see he is a big black man, along with the angels. Yeah, the angels are black too. Who else do you know? Who else do you know that personifies themselves as the ego? Think about it. After the towers collapsed, scam. What did the wicked leaders say? We shall rebuild. Ego. Bald eagle loves fish. These birds are opportunistic predators. Slavery, massacre of the natives. And when fish aren't available, they'll eat whatever they can catch. Greed and desperation, including small birds and rodents. Bald eagles are also scavengers that will feed on carrion. If they see an opportunity, bald eagles may even steal stolen land, stolen people, food from other birds, such as osprey. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return to build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. That's Malachi 1, verses 2 through 4, King James Version. Esau, who is Rome/Idumea, well, this is their judgment. Obadiah. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Spain symbol is the eagle. Somebody else symbol was the eagle too. And so is Americas. And those countries came together to form America. But though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, what that means is talking about their satellites and all that crap that they use to go to different planets, and the satellites that's up there and everything that's going on up there. That's what this is talking about. Though thou set thy nest amongst the stars. That's what that's talking about. Thence I will bring thee down, because when he come, he's going to knock all that stuff down. They got stuff that's in heaven. That's in the space, because they know that he's out there somewhere. They have weapons out there. That's why they wanted to ramp up, the space programs and all of that, because they know what's out there. They know. And they know he's coming back. So they're going to try to fight him. And you people that's in this Mexican army, you're going to gag. Don't matter. You're going to be white, black, Mexican. It don't matter. You're going to gag. You're going to gag. Because you think you're going to fight an enemy. That's what they're going to tell you. But then when you get out there to fight, you're going to be locked in. Ain't no turning back. You made your choice. All right. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty man, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Talking about when we went into slavery. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. They stole our gold. They stole all our possessions. They stole our identity. This is him telling them that. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall, that's how you know this is a future prophecy. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead, and the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto their path. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come upon Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. That's Obadiah 1, verses 1 through 21, King James Version. Let's see here. History repeats itself. Really? Yeah. Come out of her, my people. Look, all these man-made religions. All these man-made religions created by Esau. The people the ancestors of that ugly Yosemite Sam looking pastor that wanted to address the black church. You need to address your ancestors for doing this. Yeah, let's see how, they if Christ's color didn't matter, then why they got pictures of Cesare Borgia, who was the 6th Pope of Rome's son, painted. Look, and this was prophesied that this was happening. This is why they took out those lost books of the Bible. That's why they took them out. Because it was prophesied that white folk, Esau, would do this. during the Renaissance. Never celebrate the Renaissance. You need to research the Dark Ages. Did you know that we ruled Italy? Did you know that? Research Alessandro de Medici. And go on and look at his family. On back. We ruled Europe. Europa is named after a black pagan queen. We ruled Germany. You need to research the Dark Ages. Learn your history. This is Caesar Borgia. Leonardo and the Child of Cardinal Rodrigo Borgia by long-term mistress, whatever her name is, who would later become Pope Alexander VI, was so close it was believed they were lovers. Under the power of the Catholic Church, Pope Alexander VI decided that he would have his son, Caesar Borgia, used as the model for Jesus in paintings that Da Vinci was commissioned to do. Catholics changed the seventh day. Catholics did that. Oh, yeah, I was talking about these guys earlier. Hey, this is one of my favorite ones, man. Do you know who I am? Yes, the devil. Look, the Catholic Church controls all these little, you can barely see them, but the Catholic Church control all these religions, man. They all stem from Rome. The feet don't match the face. More false prophets. What they did to us. Who else did this happen to? Your world leaders. Right here, baby. Hebrew Israelite. Yeah. Proverbs 3:31. Envy thou not the oppressor. Choose on his ways. Genetic research finds that Africans are not included in the Darwin's ape evolutionary development chart. It found that Africans are the original and only pure humans. The research also found that Caucasians get their skin color and hair type from their Neanderthal DNA and not from albinism as previously believed. Oh, honey, you're not an albino. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, see? Like I told you, Christ was born in the last week of September, so you already missed his birthday. He was born during the Feast of Tabernacles. Now you tell me what this is describing. Jeremiah 10. Verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe, meaning they cut the tree with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. Deck, fa la 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 la. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails. So they take it. So sounds like to me what this is saying. They take an axe, go into a forest, they cut down a tree, and then they deck the tree with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails. So you get the little red thing, right? And then you put the nails in to fasten it up. And with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. Yeah. So I wonder what that's talking about. Are you in decking the halls this season? You participating on that lie? You participating in that lie that's coming up? Talking about Christ was born on December 25th? That's a flat out lie. And if you are so heterosexual, you probably got kids. You wouldn't like it if nobody lied on your kids. Let's say your kids was born on, I don't know. Let's say your kids was born on March 1st. And then, somehow, some way, everybody starts celebrating your child's birthday in August. August 15th. Gave your child a whole new birthday. You wouldn't take offense to that? You wouldn't be mad at that? And then, as much money as we spend on Christmas, do you really think God is happy with that? We spend enough money in this country alone to end world hunger on Christmas during the holidays. I don't think the Most High is pleased with that. I have some people out here that think that, they don't believe in certain things that I say, and, and which is, I know that I'm not God. Trust me, I know that. And they don't just take this with me, they take this with, kind of like everybody. And then they have these sayings, only God can judge me, which is true. Only God will judge us, right? But to have that mentality is kind of crazy. Because, yes, only God can judge us, but what you're saying is you'll listen when you're face to face with God. Don't you know by then it will be too late? Some people foolishly think that when they meet God, God is going to be like, yeah, you're not supposed to delete people. You're not supposed to delete people. And then their response is, oh, okay, I get it now that you're telling me that. So now that you're telling me that, I get it. That's not how that's gonna go. It don't go that way down here. When you go to court for deleting somebody, does the judge say, yeah, well, you're not supposed to delete people, so what I'm going to do is, you know, now that we've had this conversation, I'm going to just send you back out into the world. No, that's not how that goes. As above, so below. It don't go like that. And yes, people do get off. People do get off for deleting people every day. Yes, it's wrong. You know, but this judicial system down here is corrupt. The judicial system up there is not corrupt. Ain't no public defendants. He already gave us a lawyer. And the lawyer had already did his job. But it was up to us to learn the law, statutes, and commandments of the new kingdom that's going to be coming, that's going to be upheld. But a lot of people, they really do feel like that. Oh, well, when God tells me this for himself, you don't want that. Because when it's that means it's too late. And after he tells you that, you're going for a swim in the lake. That's how this goes. Ain't no, okay, well, we gonna redo this all over again because now I done talked to you, and so now we about to redo all of it. No. We've had our chance down here. There's gonna be specific moments when it may not even be me. Remember when you was coming out the dollar store and that crackhead ran into you and told you need to change your ways? Man, you need to change your ways. You know, and I don't know. I'm just using that as an example. There's been videos where I've seen people who are on the streets and they were really ministering to people. Like, he gonna show instances like that. I tried to talk to you then. You wouldn't listen. And then you dealing with a judge that can pull up what you were thinking at that exact time. Not only what you was thinking, what was in your heart. That's the type of judge you're gonna be. We're gonna all be, including me. Including me. But I know that my intentions are pure. I ain't asked nobody for a dime. I know my mission. I know what I was sent to do. So, like I said, though, it's going to be people, they're not going to get it until they're standing in judgment. They're not going to get it. Like this whole Easter thing, they're not going to get it. They're not going to be able to connect the dots until God is telling them, until they see Christ standing right there. And he says, "Depart from me, I never knew you. You celebrated lies on me. My birthday is not December 25th. And even though you knew this, you still continued. You still continued on a lie. On me. You know? On Christ. So how can you... It's silly Christian doctrine. It's silly. That's why he's going to say, "Depart from me. Many came in my name." Oh yeah, you came in my name. Teaching paganism. Teaching your kids paganism, which is child sacrifice. Many people are not going to be able to see it until they're standing in front of him. And then he tells them. And then they get mad. Like, see? That's how it's going to be.
it will ripple down through our main street, through our community, and it'll affect.
We want to get rid of illegal immigrants, quit eating. And that's for everybody. That's, you know, nationwide. If you want to get rid of them, quit eating. That'll solve the problem.
But when only 5 pickers showed up this morning to harvest his sweet potatoes, farmer Keith Smith saw possible ruin, the loss of his $500,000 crop.
They're running scared because of this new law.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
Smith's 200 acres need 20 pickers, mostly Mexican nationals.
There is not enough documented people here to supply that workforce.
Most of your workers are here illegally.
But sure, if they got documentation, they got a better job working for me.
Fernando Aldeman, a Mexican national, has worked Smith's farm since 1992.
Everybody's just scared.
Yeah.
Now, are you here legally? No.
No.
So, are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared, you know.
Smith's pickers make about $100 a day. He supports immigration laws, just not this one that threatens his third-generation family.
Just a helpful reminder from a soil geologist. And Venus, my pup. Right now, a lot of the crops around the country are rotting in their fields because the migrants aren't picking them. So what this does actually is it ruins that soil. It strips the soil of its nutrients as those crops rot. It makes the soil less fertile, and it means that the yields produced after that are much lower or won't even produce at all. So this is a multifaceted issue. This means that not only will we not be able to harvest crops at the same level and the same yield as we have been, it also means that the prices for these crops are going to increase. So American-made foods will be more expensive on top of Mexican and Canadian imported foods are now more expensive. Overall, food prices are going to go much higher. Ask any food scientist or just most scientists that work in the agricultural or soil fields. This is the best advice I can give to you right now. Take every bit of money that you can, even if you have to max out your credit cards. And I do not say that lightly. I would never in a million years think that I would have to recommend this. Go out, buy as much non-perishable food as you can. If you can invest in a standalone freezer, do that to buy a lot of frozen food. Go to Costco, buy wholesale the amount of food that you can right now. You need to really take this seriously. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. If you're going to ever listen to a scientist, now is the time. Okay? So get as much food as you can. SNAP benefits are being cut. Food banks are getting cut. This means that you will not have a recourse. You will have to start begging your neighbors for food, and they may not have any food to give you. This was a purposeful, I think, thing to do to the American people. And get the food you can now, as much as you can. Okay? All right. Be safe.
So y'all,
A lot of...
Were you ready for this?
All right, guys, I didn't really want to have to get on here and do this, but I had to. These are fiberglass stakes right here. Those big, bulky stakes on the back of the truck, wooden stakes. I called 2 weeks ago to get a quote on these fiberglass stakes because we need some more stakes this year. I got a quote, 83 cents. I called the man this morning. I said, hey, I know these tariffs are crazy and everything going on. I said, what can you do me on those fiberglass stakes now if we needed a load? It's a 3-month ETA from time you place the order. He said, Taylor, you don't want to hear this price that I'm about to give you. I said, well, give it to me anyways. He said, each of those stakes now is going to be $1.74 a piece. And I said, well, you know, and I know both that we can't do that, and that's going to be impossible. So that's just to let you know a little bit of what we're going through out here on our farm and what farmers in general are going through. These tariffs, not the best thing for our country. I voted for Trump.
I want to start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, even like, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, oh, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds.
My. It's funny when the tables turn. You know what this sounds like? Do you know what this sounds like? It sounds like those 500 treaties that your ancestors broke. Think about it. These same contracts, these people that you signed, you know, treaties was contracts too. It was just so easy for them to break them and take the land. Now they broke treaties with you. And they about to take your land. Funny how the tables turn. Esau, I do not feel sorry for your ass. I do not feel sorry for you. That's what you get. Do y'all see how this government has not changed? They broke over 500 treaties in the past, and here they are, still breaking contracts. Just like nothing. They have not changed.
And what farmers in general are going through, these tariffs, not the best thing for our country. I voted for Trump.
I'll start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, even like, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, oh, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds. I need your help to save my farm and many other farms.
This farmer right here is a Trump voter who just found out that money he put into a program that he was told he was going to get back from the government has disappeared because of Trump's executive orders. He doesn't know when he's going to get the money. And if he doesn't get the money, he will lose his farm, is what he said. And I have a response from a Republican congressman when shown his problem that is absolutely abysmal. All that coming on. First off, look at how excited this man is when he found out that he was approved for a government grant that would provide him the money he needs to invest in his farm. This is what the government is for. This is what the government is for. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are destroying this, but this is what it's about, helping people get ahead.
Hell yeah! $25,000. We got water up here finally, so no more water trailers up here. We're gonna freaking water the cows automatically. We ordered the 13 waters to go across the farm and couldn't be more excited. Luckily, the NRCS is paying a portion of this on cost sharing, so we don't have to pay for the whole thing, but we still have like $10,000 out of pocket on this well, so that really sucks. But we're out here pretty good ways off the road and $25,000 pumping water at the top of the hill. Like I said before, if you guys have any questions on that cost sharing with NRCS, please let me know. I am happy to help. I'm happy to spread the word on it. They're not allowed to advertise it. That's part of the deal. So if you guys have any questions on it, please let me know. They are giving us $240,000 worth of cost sharing on putting 40,000 feet of fence out on our property. We're putting a well in. We're putting 13 waters in. We're doing some seedings out here with some warm season grasses. But if you guys are interested in doing any of this on your place, it's a federal program. You don't have to have it in certain states. You can do it on the state side also, but this one
livelihoods are at
I'm happy to spread the word on it. They're not allowed to advertise it. I'm happy to spread the word on it. They're not allowed to advertise it. That's part of the deal. So I'm happy to spread the word on it. They're not allowed to advertise it.
are at stake, says every soybean farmer that voted for Trump but has had a family farm for 200 years that's been government subsidized and bailed out. Now you're growing soybeans, which is not really bought domestically as much as overseas, which is totally fine, except you've really not been doing anything for America. You've only been working for corporations. And now that you voted against your best interests and the best interests of people that don't share your skin color, you're like, hey, more socialism, please. And when I show you the big reveal, Caleb Ragland, when you see him, are you going to be like, oh, I didn't know farmers looked like that, farmers that voted for Trump? Or are you going to be like, there's Caleb, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Give us our country back. No more money, dude. You're clearly not smart enough to use it. How many millions do you need from our government, the taxpayers, before you can run your business on your own and you don't scream to the government for more help when stuff goes wrong? Did you know that we all deal with economic ups and downs without getting handouts like that? Did you know that most businesses don't get millions from the government? We actually have to figure it out. And now that you guys are trying to take Social Security from grannies and grandmas and grandpas, I guess there's twice as many $70 a day, and they don't deserve it, but you want more, even though you've not been able to do this for hundreds of years. You've needed help and more money. And is that the face of a guy that's going to get it this time? I don't.
Well, America's farmers are as much a symbol of our country as the Stars and Stripes, and arguably just as important. They put food on our tables, clothes on our backs. But for black farmers, the road has been rough, leading to the loss of millions of acres of farmland and a lack of trust. And now one of the very symbols of America, now in a fight with the federal government.
We're quietly, one by one, losing our farms.
It's a problem facing tens of thousands of struggling black farmers in America.
We were 1 million black farmers, family strong in this country, tilling 20 million acres of land. And today we're down to 50,000 black farmers. So we're facing extinction.
John Boyd Jr. is the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. He says more than a century of admitted racism within the U.S. Department of Agriculture, including refusing to process loans from farmers of color and foreclosing more quickly on minority farmers, resulted in the loss of roughly 15 million acres of land, worth an estimated $300 billion. The result, a $5 billion lawsuit against the federal government to honor its promise to make it right.
Many black farmers were even deterred from applying for assistance at USDA. I personally had my loan torn up and tossed in a trash can right in front of me. I've been spat on by the person who's supposed to be lending me money, and I've been called racial epithets, like it was commonplace. From the lending officer at USDA.
And the U.S. government admitted wrongdoing. In 2021, Congress approved $5 billion in debt relief for thousands of farmers of color. The money was included in the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package, the American Rescue Plan Act. But before the money could be paid out, white farmers in several different states filed lawsuits, arguing the program violated their rights, calling it reverse discrimination, and prompting judges to halt the program. One of those farmers, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, who called the debt relief unconstitutional.
It was racist. You know, it was based on skin color, not on need or economically disadvantaged. Look, I'm for minority farmers getting help if they need it.
Man, shut your cracker ass up. You old KK cracker ass, old senile bastard. But see, this is what they do. This is what they do. That man will call you an N-word in a minute, in a heartbeat when the cameras ain't on. You know, but then in front of the cameras, they'll pose, oh yeah, I'm for everybody to get. No, you ain't. No, you're not. No, you're not. Your people is the ones, and then they want to cry this reverse discrimination, but it was your people that created white water fountains only. Colored water fountains. It was your people that did that. But now, today, fast forward, oh, that's discrimination. Do you see how they flip it? This is what they've been doing. This is how I know that these are Esau's people. They still act like this. They still act like this to this day. Victim mentality, but they the ones that's actually out here living by the swords. You know, the sword. That's an old senile bastard. That's what he is. An old blue-eyed devil. I bet you go back, I guarantee you he probably put his hood on too. But if you go back a few generations, I guarantee you he has some proud members of the KKK. He look like it. His energy speaks of it. He ain't for everybody. And won't acknowledge what his people did. But this is why this is happening. You have to get into it. This is why this is happening. Because they are the Pharaoh. And they refuse to see the error in their ways. And they refuse to see how they have done us. And they refuse to apologize. They refuse to restore. And they're trying to hold on desperately. But they're not going to be able to escape the inevitable. Y'all's gonna be the minority. You already are. Look at what they did with the whole native situation. And how they became $5 Indians. You know, allowing people to, for $5 or, you know, to pose as natives and, you know, they can get land and stuff like that. These people are devils. They are devils. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, well, we're for their advancement, you know, but they know that they have had a head start. They have had a 200+ year head start. But when it seems like when we do build our own up, they come in like Black Wall Street. When we do, when things are allocated for us, they slither in. They find a way to slither in and get the money. Just like how they made white women a minority, you know, which is the dumbest. It's so dumb to me. Like they are not a minority. They are paired with their white counterparts. They're not a minority. But that is why all of this is happening. Because the refusal to let his people go.
Government admitted wrongdoing. In 2021, Congress approved $5 billion in debt relief for thousands of farmers of color. The money was included in the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package, the American Rescue Plan Act. But before the money could be paid out, white farmers in several different states filed lawsuits, arguing the program violated their rights, calling it reverse discrimination, and prompting judges to halt the program. One of those farmers, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, who called the debt relief unconstitutional.
It was racist. You know, it was based on skin color, not on need or economically disadvantaged. Look, I'm for minority farmers getting help if they need it. But this gave help whether they needed it or not. And it's excluded all the other races, which is just It's just plain racist.
Look at the history of the USDA debt relief offered to white farmers. Look at what the Trump administration offered to subsidies and direct debt relief and administration of money to white farmers in the last 4 years. And you look at less than 1% went to black farmers. Now, is that not racism? Why is it only when black people are going to get benefits from the government do we call it racism?
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump is fighting back on behalf of Boyd and 3 other plaintiffs, filing a class action lawsuit against the federal government, saying it broke a binding contract to pay 16,000 farmers of color $4 billion in debt relief, money allocated to wipe out 100% of debt with the USDA and an additional 20% to pay off the taxes owed. But that money was never paid.
We hope.
Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? So, Sid Miller bought his white ass in. Oh, no, that's just flat out racist. But last night, he took his hood off. He had his hood on. This morning, morning came, he took his hood off. And went to go file, a complaint or a lawsuit talking about something's racist. And so, you mean to tell me that none of the money was paid out to the black farmers? But it started out as this thing that was supposed to be for them until it was interjected by Whitey, who came in and cried his white tears. Just like when I told you they made white women a minority during the NAACP, the Civil Rights Movement. They made them a minority so they can still have their hand in getting the money. Why is it that whenever it's us getting something, it's racist? But these people have had a proven history of exploiting us, slithering in, taking funds that was allocated for us after they've never restored us for what they've done to us. Now, that's racist. So, Sid Miller, you need to have a couple seats of sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Joe Esau looking ass. You need to go back to the caves and go farm there. Take your ass back to the Caucasus Mountains and go farm there. I said what I said. And about these student loans, because, my student loans, I don't have that much in student loans. But about these student loans, I'll pay the money back when we get our $7 billion back worth of equipment that y'all left over in the Middle East after you spent billions of dollars in a 20-year war. That's why this country is in the state that it's in. So you want to talk about repaying stuff back? Are you gonna pay the citizens of this country their tax dollars back that you wasted, the $7 billion worth of equipment that you left over in the so-called Middle East of Africa? After you lied about your weapons of mass destruction? So yeah, that's when I'll pay my student loans back. When we get the $7 billion worth of equipment.
We hope to bind the federal government to their promise that was made contractually with the black farmers. We hope to make up for 40 acres and a mule that were denied to black farmers and black soldiers and black people over 150 years ago.
So that lawsuit is pending in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. Meanwhile, the USDA says litigation likely would have continued for years if they had not changed the laws, leading Congress to amend the bill to include all farmers in distress. That proposal allocates more than $3 billion to USDA-backed loans and $2 billion to farmers who the agency discriminated against.
Corn agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers starting on April 2nd. It may be a little bit of an adjustment period, but our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too.
If you're a large corporate farm, an adjustment period may mean one thing. If you're a small to medium-sized family farmer, it may mean something completely separate. President Trump has said, as you just heard, that his tariffs will ultimately accrue to the benefit of America's farmers. It's a pledge he reiterated this morning, posting on Truth Social, and I quote, "Our farmers are great, but because of their greatness, they're always put on the front line with our adversaries, such as China. Whenever there is a trade negotiation or, in this case, importantly, he says, a trade war." John Boyd joins me now. He is the president of the National Black Farmers Association. John, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. To my point, this idea of an adjustment period, if you're a large corporate farm, that means one thing. If you're a small to medium-sized family farmer, that means something completely different. Am I right about that?
Yes, and the president's trade war has put America's farmers in a pathway of complete destruction. It's planting season, and farmers should be planting their crops, but instead the president is playing footsie with China. And recently, the beef industry, China was purchasing beef. They're now going to be purchasing that from Australia. That's $2.5 billion out of America's pockets. Recently, China purchased a large soybean order from Brazil. That's money out of America's farmers' pockets right now. So the president said in that speech that you just shown, farmers go out and have fun. There's nothing fun about losing your farm. And we have farmers on the line that are on the brink of complete failure. And right now, every time the president says the word tariff, the price drops and the markets, drop for farmers. Farmers are price takers, not price givers. So we have to sell corn, wheat, and soybeans based on what the markets are. We don't set the markets. And the president is causing havoc every time he says the word tariff, the prices drop, and bankers don't want to extend credit to America's farmers. For the first time in a very, very long time, I don't have a farm operating loan, and it's planting season because the bankers are telling me, Boyd, we can't lend you money based on the poor market price at $9 for soybeans and $5 for wheat and $4 for corn. So the president should put some things in place to protect America's farmers now, provide emergency loans for farmers right now, and not put us on the back burner while he has put us in the pathway of destruction with his trade war. Farmers didn't do this. The president did this.
And John, as I understand it, even before the tariff conversation initiated by President Trump, farmers were stressed out by weather havoc, lower than expected commodity prices, and other issues.
High equipment prices. And, the tariffs are going to make farm equipment go up because the steel is caught up in that. Farmers are now in the pathway of slow getting parts. We rely on parts that come from some of these other regions of the country to keep our tractors going and combines and harvesters and planters. All of the things that affect everybody affect us first, and then it's passed on to the actual consumer. So here it is, America's farmers who voted for this president overwhelmingly in this country are the first to get punched in the face by this administration, and they're kind of leaving us dangling out here like a carrot in a negotiating type style, while we should be planning for our crop season. So it's a very, very troubling time for farmers, especially for small farmers. I want to be very, very clear. Small farmers don't have the time period, so to speak, 30 to 45 days to plant our crops. We have to get them in the ground. And farmers are calling us every day here at the NBFA, say, board shop, plant my crops, I sit this one out. It's complete havoc. It's complete, where farmers just don't know. Uncertainty right now is the word that I'm looking for with America's farmers. And the president should come out and make a national speech to kind of calm the waters here and bring farmers to the table, have a discussion at the White House and engage us. Instead, we're learning about things from CBS News and other news outlets instead of engaging us and having us at the table. The Agriculture Secretary hasn't reached out to the NBFA to have a meeting, a sit-down meeting to talk about any of these concerns that I'm laying out to you. So right now we feel like we're the gambling card on the table, and it should be the other way around.
I had to get up on this one. Okay, so because he keeps saying we and, come let us know. So I'm getting the feeling that he voted for Trump. So John Boy, and then the name Boy. And if you know, the term boy was a derogatory term back in slavery, back in Jim Crow, back during the black codes, stuff like that. And today, racist white people will call black men boys. Like, boy, what you doing, boy? And so for him to have that name, John Boy, see, you gotta peer into stuff. You gotta read in between the lines, and it's a subservient mindset that some of our people have. They are subservient to white people. They feel, they feel like they are, and they'll talk that, if you voted for Trump, you deserve to lose your farm, John Boy. You deserve it. If you voted for him, if you voted for that man, you deserve to lose your farm. You do. You do. And I'm sorry, if you voted for Trump, all that you went through, I've had people spit on me and all of that. You deserve every piece of what you got. Because I want to know why you didn't vote for the other candidate. Because this is what people is not understanding. This is what you're not understanding. I got to sit down on this. Only one of them was talking about becoming a dictator. And that's what your dumb ass voted for. You voted for the one who even if it was an inkling of it, I don't want to hear that. Okay? And I'm somebody that has not voted since Obama's first term. But I got my ass out and I voted for Kamala. Because when I heard getting rid of the Constitution, when I heard of Project 2025, and I started researching that, I said, oh no. I know what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen. But if I can prevent it, I have to try. And I did. So I can speak because I voted. And I have proof. So, only one of them was talking about becoming a dictator. Even if I don't agree with her policies, about, or the Democrats' policies with the whole transgender versus kids thing, hey, guess what? She's not talking about becoming a dictator. She's not talking about running for a third term. She's not. Only one was. Only one had been convicted of a crime. Think about that. Think about that. But there's nothing new under the sun because people literally chose a murderer over Christ. Now they say, give us Barabbas. Like what? So, I mean, hey, John Boy, if you voted for Trump, you deserve to lose your farm. You deserve it. Tired of black men like that. And I'm not saying, because I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. But baby, from what I'm hearing, the words and the us and the we, it sounds like you did. And see, you have trying to be like them. Trying to be like them. And I'm not talking about his way of dress, because actually, that's us. That's us. Even from the cowboy boots, that's us. Country is us. And I've talked about even down to Beyonce. Even down to Beyonce. Yeah, she could sing country because that come from us. Tina Turner can sing, may she rest in peace. She can sing rock and roll because that come from us. So, no, I'm not talking about his way of dress. I'm talking about, especially, it's in the South, man. It's in the South, and I see it. Sometimes it's hard to explain, but the way I explain it is just a subservient mindset to white people. And sometimes people in the South don't even see it. They don't even see that they, that they do it. So, I really do feel, hey, because part of that is he probably didn't want to see a woman in office, and but like I said, I don't care about the race or none of that. Only one of them was implementing Project 2025, and I just showed you what's going on at that museum. It's a reason why they're doing this. And that's why I voted for the other, to prevent that. But sometimes things need to happen. Things need to happen for people to open up their eyes and see. Well, I don't like neither one of them, so I'm going to just vote for independent. You dumb. You dumb. And the reason why you're dumb is because only one of them was talking about becoming a dictator. This time around, this election, this was about preventing somebody who could potentially become a dictator. This was about not so much implementing policies, preventing certain policies to be put in place. Like Project 2025, which is, we see it, it's happening. So, it is what it is. Sometimes, people need to touch the stove. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they need to touch the stove to see that but I'm the type of person, when you touch the stove and you burn yourself, I'm gonna call you stupid. How does that feel, dummy? I'm definitely not gonna coddle you. When you turn around and you have to come back this way, how did that feel, dummy? You gonna do that again? That's my That's why sometimes when people do me wrong, that's why they don't come back. Because they already know, like, that's what they coming back to. Like, they don't want to hear, I was right. Oh, no, I can't be right. Oh, not me. I can't be right, right? Because who am I? I know. Dumb.
Court rejected today the Trump administration's effort to keep frozen billions of dollars in foreign aid that had already been approved by Congress. Today's ruling might only be a temporary setback for the administration. The court did not give a timeline for when the money must be released, sending the issue back to the lower courts. Back in January, the president moved to freeze billions of dollars in foreign aid from the State Department and USAID, causing aid programs around the world to ground to a halt. But the effects are also being felt closer to home by farmers who relied on USAID to purchase their product and distribute it overseas. Our Shimon Prokupes has more.
You ask me why I do it? Well, we feed people, and that's a good feeling. What I produce here, I stand behind my crop. I don't produce anything on my farm that I wouldn't eat. Matter of fact, I'll show you. I'll choose some soybeans for you. It tastes good. I'm going right here on my farm.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like McDonald's hamburger.
No.
Yeah. That's what's in them.
John Boyd Jr. is a fourth-generation farmer. He grows wheat, corn, and soybeans here on his 1,000-acre farm in Southern Virginia. He also founded the National Black Farmers Association, and he's no fan of President Donald Trump.
The president casts a net of uncertainty. Every time he makes one of these wild announcements that people are saying, yay, tariffs to China, tariffs to Mexico, tariffs to Canada, USAID, it's over, it's done. Every time he makes those type of drastic announcements, he affects America's farmers.
Within days of taking office, President Trump dismantled USAID, a humanitarian program that's been a lifeline for the most vulnerable around the world, and a critical source of income for U.S. farmers, paying them hundreds of millions of dollars a year for their crops. He also froze some funding for farmers and rattled trade markets.
We take it totally for granted. And what we're doing in this country right now, we're gambling with all that.
Gambling with farmers.
Gambling with farmers' lives. They're gambling with my life. They're gambling with my livelihood, man.
Farmers like Boyd rely on loans to plant for the upcoming season, with the hope that the harvest will pay it off and bring home some profit. In fact, about 1 million American farmers rely on the U.S. Farmers like Boyd rely on loans to plant for the upcoming season, with the hope that the harvest will pay it off and bring home some profit. In fact, about 1 million American farmers rely on the USDA for financial assistance every year. But just days before planting season starts, Boyd says he hasn't been able to get a loan yet, and he says he's not the only one.
They want you to show them on paper how you're good for that operating loan and how you're going to pay it back. I can't pay it back with $8 beans and $6 beans and $3 corn.
The majority of grain exported from the United States is stored in grain elevators. In Kansas alone, one grain elevator can export millions of dollars of goods. This is in Pawnee County in Kansas. This is a grain elevator site. This is where farmers will bring their grain, stuff that they've harvested, like milo and wheat and soybean and corn. It is stored in these bins, these large concrete bins, and then sold to exporters, companies who are willing to buy that. And right now, it is very difficult to move some of this stuff.
They could come in and sell wheat
for $5.58. It was down 14 cents today.
Kim Barnes has been buying and selling each year's harvest for Kansas farmers for over 50 years.
All these bins are full, and they're full of Milo.
That's $5 million worth of grain, Barnes says. Grain that countries like Ethiopia and others depend on for food aid.
And so what's going on with the Milo? Why do you have so much of that right now? What are you seeing in the market?
We just don't have any market for it. There's nobody wanting to buy it.
5 months ago, Barnes says USAID bought over 200 million metric tons of Milo from American farmers. Today, with no market for that grain, he's desperate. One potential lifeline, a proposal in Washington for the USDA to continue USAID's food distribution program.
You're optimistic that the USAID stuff will get moved into USDA and the program will get...
And will go on.
But John Boyd doesn't share that optimism. He's not just worried about the future of farming, but for the future of his own farm.
There are 4 children, and I know that my kids have watched me scuffle, throughout my career. And they're not going to want to do this if this administration continues to make it more difficult than it already is.
The discrimination that I faced at USDA was in-your-face discrimination. I was spat on with tobacco juice running down my shirt on one particular loan application with the lender, who was a federal employee who was employed by a government, spat on me. I was called the N-word from this same official. I had my application torn up and thrown in a trash can in front of me. On average, it took 387 days to process a black farmer's loan request. Less than 30 days to process a white farmer's loan.
We want to work, sell our crop, and have a decent life like everybody else. But if they would just leave it alone.
This trade war is going to impact literally every corner of the country. Some of those who are most uncertain about what this is going to mean is those in agriculture and farming. Like here, corn and soybean farmers and pork producers. Where does this trade war end?
I don't know where it ends. I hope it ends soon.
What is your message to the Trump administration?
Just stay out of it. I mean, if they would just leave it alone and let the free market do its job, everything would be okay.
This is going to be so far-reaching, not just because of the Trump administration's tariffs of goods imported into the United States, but it's about the question marks in the days ahead about the retaliatory tariffs that the likes of China, Canada, potentially Mexico, and Europe are going to place on U.S. goods that are either produced, like corn and soybeans, or manufactured and sent overseas.
Joint address to Congress, he said he loves farmers, is his exact words, or something like that, to that effect. And here the very people that, in this case, 99%, Don, of white farmers voted for this president, are the very first persons in line to get affected by this president. He came right in, imposing tariffs and threatening tariffs and really causing a state of emergency for farmers in this country. Really chaotic the way it does it, Don. One day the tariffs are on, the next day they're off. But what it does for the American farmers and black farmers is it plays with the market. All the 3 major commodities in this country, corn, wheat, and soybeans. He threatens tariffs to Mexico, which is the _1 purchaser of U.S.-grown corn. He threatened tariffs to China, the #1 purchaser of U.S.-grown soybean production in this country, and I raised both of those commodities. And right now, the price is down based on all the rhetoric from the president and the issues at the United States Department of Agriculture, where the president came in and said there'd be immediate relief. Day one help for America's farmers. $30 billion lies dormant at USDA, not moving. And it's the beginning of planting season for American farmers.
Yeah. But bottom line, what does that mean to you? And then we'll talk about black farmers specifically. What does that mean for farmers in general? You said they're the first in line. You mean the first in line to be affected negatively by these tariffs?
First in line to be affected negatively, excuse me, Don. And the very first people that the president took aim at was his base in all of these red states. I want to be very clear. These are people that had pasteboard signs out here in southern part of Virginia with Trump. These farmers held rallies and meetings on their farms, and he went after them quickly and used them as a ploy, a bargaining ploy with these other countries, not even taking into effect of what he would be causing them and their farming operation. Don, if you don't get farm operating loans and you have poor price commodities on corn, wheat, and soybeans, you wind up in foreclosure or on an auction block. So the president said in his speech, oh, it's going to be a few bumps in the road and just give him a little time. Farmers don't have time. Now, we have the beginning of planting season, which is right now, and then we have harvest. We have to get those 2 times correct, and there's very little margin of error for planting season. And farmers don't have operating loans in place because the government has frozen programs at USDA. They came right in, Don, this president did, and fired everybody at USDA that had anything to do with equity, DEI. All those people went on day one. Totally erasing 4 decades of work that I put into getting those positions there at USDA. He came right in without the involvement of Congress and totally sent all those people home with some nasty email and a one-pager.
Why is that important that people know what you're talking about, what you're talking about right now?
It's important because USDA has never been a friend to America's black farmers. The reason why we got DEI is because we had master farmers, my daddy called himself, that wasn't being able to get loans on time. 387 days on average for USDA to process a black farmer's loan request. Less than 30 days, Don, to process a white farm loan request. I've been spat on by the county person there who's supposed to be making us loans. I've been called the N-word. And in the 80s, we still had to come in the back door, way after integration, Don. A line of us would be lined up out there. We all knew each other, and we never spoke about how poorly we were being treated by USDA. So here's a real agency who's never lent us any money, put our farms in inventory and pretty much gave them to white farmers for a penny on a dime. And now this president comes in and says everything is going to be about merit. We don't need the Office of Civil Rights. We don't need a civil rights director in each agency. We don't need any of those things. USDA is going to make itself good on its own. That's why it's very important to have those positions there. A watchdog where farmers, if we've been treated badly, we can file a formal complaint and at least go through that process. This president came in and said, we don't need any of that stuff. So it's like the Wild Wild West. And he threw all this stuff up on the wall so fast, Don, that he didn't give the American people enough time to react. I think white people that supported him are even in great shock that how fast this president came in and just dismantled America by its core roots.
China is no longer importing soybeans or beef from the U.S. What's going to happen next? Farmers in Indiana and Nebraska and other states in the country are going to lose their farms. And when they do, corporations are going to buy up that land. The tariffs aren't bringing industry back to the U.S. Tariffs are not going to help small businesses. Tariffs are not going to help farmers. Tariffs are going to help corporations and more rich people like Trump. So you know what? Keep cheering it on, MAGA. Keep cheering it on because you're cheering on your own demise.
Hey, my people. So the shit has already hit the fan. So, you know, right now it's food storage for long term, right? So we got to be practicing, got to figure out how we can have lots of food storage for a long period of time. According to the crisis that hit us here in the United States, you notice the farmers have already sound the alarm, right? So the alarm is already out there. The farmers are saying, hey, you guys need to stock up. This is a problem. We're not able to produce this. We're not able to export that, right? So look at this. These things grow very easily. So what we do, we start growing them, right? Planting them, right? Whatever you have at home, right, that you can grow, you can plant quite easy, go ahead and do so. Start it, right? Stack up on your beans, stack up on your cans of food, stack up on your products. Listen, I'm not the only one saying it. The farmers are saying it. Listen, when the alarm sounds, don't be deaf to what's going on. Don't act like you're blind to what's going on. Go get it right now. Start.
So I have a black woman farmer that's in my Facebook network, and she came over to my page and she was telling me how she's been helping people get prepared because of what is coming down the pipeline. She says she's not trying to alarm anybody, but things are about to get scary. Actually, she said it's beyond scary. I asked her if she would jump into my Facebook inbox, and she did. And she left me a series of 1-minute clips, 1-minute voice notes. And I screen recorded all of these voice notes and I clipped them together to make a video. So if you hear these pauses, that's because she's making these 1-minute long voice clips, and she talks very deliberately. But I have put this together. This is what she is seeing from the farmer side, so the supplier side. She's also talking about what's going on as far as subsidies goes, what she's seeing as far as the truckers who are bringing the food there. So if you care anything about what is going on, if you want to at least hear it out, you know, you might be weary, you might not care, you might not think that this is truthful, but please just listen. Take it in for what it's worth, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think.
Hey Ash. Yeah, so what I'm going to tell you is actually like insider stuff. I don't have actual stats on me. It's just stuff that people tell me when I go to meetings and things like that. So feel free to share it with your YouTube page and let people know what's going on. But you already know how people are, right? Unless they see something physical, they're going to argue with you. They want to go back and forth. They're going to ask you for a source. So just tell them, look, I'm friends with the farm girl in Pennsylvania. She goes to private meetings and she's telling me what's going on in her neck of the woods, and just leave it at that, because people are just getting on my nerves at this point. So basically, here goes. Donald Trump rescinded the umbrella of the Department of Agriculture. So basically, the umbrella includes SNAP EBT, something called Farm to School breakfast and lunch program, WIC, which is like women and children, small children. They get cereal, they get grain cereal, and they get milk. He rescinded something called FMNP, which are those farmers' checks that they give to senior citizens that are low income. And he's cutting Meals on Wheels, and he's cutting food pantries as well as church pantries all across the nation. This is something I know for a fact because I do business with them. You can tell your followers how this is going to impact this entire country, because what a lot of people don't understand is, I'm just going to use WIC as an example. Most people think that WIC, which is women, children, and infants, right, was implemented because they want women to get milk. But that is not the case. WIC was originally put into place so that farmers could get subsidies for growing grain. That's why when you are on WIC, you can get all that rice cereal, you know, cornmeal cereal, oatmeal cereal, and things like that. And it was also put into place so that the farmers can get paid for their dairy. That's the reason why when mommies are on WIC, they get so much milk. I mean, jugs and jugs and tons of milk that they don't even know what to do with the milk. So they end up making cheese, they make yogurt. Sometimes they just give it away because they don't know what to do with all that dairy and all that cereal. The fact that they're helping single mothers and mothers who are in need is just like gravy. They're doing it so that the farmers can get paid. And farmers get paid by something called farm subsidies, okay? That is a welfare program, all right? And it's funny because MAGA hates socialism, but they don't mind getting subsidies, which is welfare, as long as it benefits them. Now, because he cut all of these programs, not only are senior citizens going to suffer, farm to school is going to suffer because all the funds are frozen. Farmers are not going to be able to grow enough produce to give to those schools, to give to EBT, to give to WIC, because there's no funding for them anymore. And something that a lot of people don't know is that when you have a farm, you have to plan one season ahead. So these people are not getting, they're not getting their subsidy check, which is welfare. So they are in arrears. They don't have the money. They've already spent thousands upon thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars buying lumber, buying farm animals, buying everything that they're going to need, and getting contractors to come over to their property, but they cannot have access to their funds, so their funds are frozen. Now, what this is going to end up doing, of course, is it's going to be like a humongous crash, because one system is completely dependent on the other. And it's the exact same thing with the big name commercial food companies like Sodexo. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a company called Sodexo. I think they might have been bought out by Cisco. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But Sodexo also requires the farmers to work with them. They actually hire farmers to give them food. And this is what people rely on, like in a hospital system. The food comes from these major companies. And when the farmers are not getting their checks and they can't do what they need to do, these other corporations are not going to be able to feed people. So it's going to have a horrendous snowball effect on our society. We are not going to be able to recover from this. So now, here is what the truck drivers are now saying. I don't know anything about truck driving, so I'm just going to give you the simplistic of it. So when a truck driver is called by dispatch to go pick up a load, it's called a load, right? That load has to be weighed, and I think it goes by the ton. I have been told in my private meetings that the loads are getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And what that means in layman's terms is that there's just not a lot of food that's being distributed throughout food pantries, schools, neighborhoods, hospital systems, etc. So even the truck drivers are saying that something is definitely wrong because they're not getting a lot of loads. When I was in the meeting, they're also complaining about the cost of how the companies that they work for are putting more stress on them. So they're going to have to drive for longer periods of time with less breaks. And that's putting a strain on them, and it's putting a strain on the company. So basically, the gist of all of this is this, okay? Our system is based upon socialism. Whether these MAGA Republicans want to admit it or not, it's based upon socialism and it's based upon welfare, and we all participate in it. The fact that they voted for this man to cut and to rescind all of these socialist programs, they think that they're hurting us. Their racism makes them believe that it's only black people and people of color that are going to get hurt by his policies. But the truth is, Black people have never benefited from any of these things, including DEI. I can tell you as a farmer that I've never gotten one grant. Every single affirmative action initiative that has ever been implemented in my world has gone to a white female farmer or a white veteran farmer. We have never benefited from DEI. We've never benefited from any of these programs. And because Black people as a whole have never benefited from anything, we've had to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and make do with very little. Like myself, I have to make do with what little I do have. So I talked it over with my family the other night, and I think we're going to be able to weather the storm because we've been weathering the storm. No one has been helping us. No one has been giving us anything. The people that are not going to make it are white people, because they're the ones that have been getting the handouts and all the benefits all along. So they're going to suffer from this the most. I think it's kind of funny when you think about it, because they cut off their nose to spite their face. But here's what I'm going to tell you so that you can tell your viewers on YouTube. What is happening now is not a joke. It's not something to giggle and pass off as being funny, or she's just, she's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. This is very serious. Start stocking up now as quickly as you possibly can. If you have an extra $1 or $2, every time that you go food shopping, grab a couple of cans of food and start putting it away. Get your friends together and start a garden in your backyard. One person can grow just tomatoes, the other can grow just cucumbers, and so on and so forth. And then when your crops have come to fruition, then you can go food shopping in each other's backyard. Get a plan of action together so that one person is skilled with medical training, one person is skilled with holistic training, another person knows how to hunt, another one can fish. Start putting together whatever it is that you can put together so that you can build a community with people that you trust. Because in my humble opinion, and this is just an opinion, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, when things don't crash by the ending of this year towards Christmas, it is going to be an absolute miracle from God. And that's the God's honest truth. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little story. I hope your viewers are going to take this seriously. Like I said, I don't have statistics because I go to the meetings. I hear what's going on behind the scenes. I know about the cuts to the food pantry. I know about the cuts to Meals on Wheels. People are getting laid off from all of these programs. So I can't prove it, for people that's going to want to come for me. I can't prove it, but I can only tell you what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. So I hope that you will take heed and just get your homes prepared. So good luck.